I love that. Hi, hello. Just showing off these two things. Don't mind my blank stare in the corner there. I was just working on this from a coffee shop. And what we're looking at today is this auto Luma key. And basically either keying out the darks or the brights. And it just is kind of looking for a 40 to 50% alpha value automatically based on the input. So it's smoothing out, it's analyzing like a 3-second window. And then you've got a key that's either threshold based or from this chroma component. But you can see that the threshold value is floating there. It's not too jerky, so it's kind of, it's always going to be moving a little bit as your image moves. So here we go. Now we're keying out the bright spots and leaving the darks. And you can blend between the threshold and the chroma. And you have mask controls. I could have made adjustments for the window, but I just got it to this point and I like it. And you can always dive in there, and there's these trail chops. If you want to adjust the length, there's multiple of them. They're averaging together. So one's looking at a shorter window and the other one's looking at a longer window, and you're getting the average of the two of them. And that's how it stays so smooth. Now we're looking at this Scanline reaction diffusion. There's this ramp that is kind of creating the Scanline effect that it's not going to mimic analog until it's these really lower values. So we're just looking in here. Here you see these scan lines, and that's kind of the first part of this, is like where it's breaking the feedback, or like disrupting it in these rows. That's kind of my favorite value there. And here you can see this is before the edge or the blur or the noise or the emboss. And like even right there, that's kind of cool. But you've got all kinds of things to play with here. Oh shoot, now my screen's covering some of the controls. Great. Well, anyways, you've got transform controls. There's an edge top. There's a blur. There's a displace, and there's an emboss. All of these interact with each other because they're all in one feedback chain. So now we're going to blend the edge back in. So yeah, you'll see, even though this is the start of the feedback chain, you'll see that all of these, everything still affects even the beginning stages. It's all tied together. So subtle changes can make big differences. Now we're looking at the noise. This noise is used to displace the feedback. The strength controls are still on that first tab, but all of the noise values are here. The output is covering it, but you'll see that the difference between this being on or off is pretty stark. You stop getting that motion and the kind of like the cloud-like formations without that. But there's a lot of dynamic interplay by changing all of this. And like I said, I mean, it's really kind of have to experiment. I love that. So there's a post-processing side where you can change what the background color is. And that should be pretty self-explanatory. And then there's a ramp with one color in there. I didn't bother putting the picker in there. You can just use the offset and saturation to get that. You can always make your own. It's just something handy to have. So yeah, just playing with these, playing with the ramp. There you can see what type of, we got a circular ramp here. Now this VHS is super low resolution. I'm upscaling it before the feedback is actually highly detailed, but sometimes you'll get some flickering in the feedback, but there's a lot of ways to minimize that. You just want to be mindful of not creating crazy strobing with this, especially if you're sensitive to it. So yeah, just showing off these two things.